This is Scout. Scout is a 2009 Seaway Offshore 24, and she is a lobster boat, and we spent a long time looking for a boat like this. We were about to actually order one from Eastern in New Hampshire when we found her right in our backyard in Oxford, Maryland, where we keep our sailboat. We loved the lines of these lobster boats, and we wanted a trailerable outboard lobster boat that we could use to explore the creeks and nooks and crannies in the Chesapeake and be able to take her to places like Annapolis for the day or maybe an overnight. And anyway, she was in great shape, had very few hours on her engine, but had never gotten much love or cleaning in her life. And we bought her with the plans to clean her up and replace a lot of the finishes, add more teak, and really kind of dress her up to make her more comfortable and attractive for day cruising. And one thing that we didn't like about her was all of this green canvas. It was pretty tired, and that was number one on our list to take care of when we took ownership of her. She's got so many features packed into a really small package. She's got a head, windlass, bow thruster, sink, refrigerator, seating, probably more things that I'm forgetting. But she's got a lot to offer, and we were thrilled to be able to take possession of her. This is her getting her survey in Oxford in the slings at the Marine Travel Lift there, looking pretty spiffy. She passed with flying colors, just a little dirty and needing some love. And we were able to it was late in the season, so weren't able to do much with her. This is us taking her out for the season in October, and we brought her back to our farm in Malvern, where we started planning all of the teak appointments. This is her with the new canvas, that Hurricane Canvas in Stevensville, Maryland. Rob at Hurricane did a fabulous job, looking very smart there. So we brought her back to our farm in Malvern, out near our barn where Brooke has his workshop. And the first thing we did was put her new name on. And we're very happy with how that turned out. We discovered pretty early on that she was leaking from her top sides. Here you see all these little bits of blue tape, which are covering up screw holes from this teak trim that goes around the cabin top that are called eyebrows, and those are all leaking. So we removed those and are refinishing them, and we'll rebed them and hopefully stop that leaking. The windshield was also leaking, and Brooke has done a lot of rebedding of all these components to try to stop it to leak. We also put in new port lights. These are beautiful stainless steel, newfound metal port lights, which hopefully will be more watertight than the old ones. It had a pretty old plastic sink, which we replaced with this beautiful stainless steel. And it has this cute little propane stovetop, and we are building a custom piece of teak that will drop in there so that the countertop is flush. We have big plans for the upholstery. We struggled for a long time trying to figure out what to do with this stern bench or transom bench, and we came up with a plan that's going to make it a little bit deeper and a little bit wider. We're also replacing the L-shaped upholstery with all new upholstery, as well as inside the cabin we're getting all new sunbrella cushions. The boat had a lot of smoked glass, which we're not crazy about, like you see here at the companionway doors. We are rebuilding those in teak, and they will be much better looking. Here's another smoked glass door on the console, which we are replacing with teak louvered doors, which Brooke built. And inside there's these smoked glass doors, which are getting replaced with teak or mahogany, I forget which one, panels. One of the most exciting things we're doing is dressing up the ceiling. We're calling it a coffered ceiling. I'm not sure if that's the right term, but that was a picture of it, some of the components dry fit. And here you see part of Brooks' barn where he's got all these pieces of wood that he made and built and refinished up there. And here he is getting ready to install some of the ceiling in Scout.
Okay, so now I'm installing the coffered ceiling, which I dry fit before wood finish earlier. And I'm installing it in this ceiling that's really only about 3/8 of an inch thick. And so I have to have a variety of screws based on the thickness of the coffers to just get through part of that roof without going through the top of it. So I have like 4 different sizes of stainless steel screws. Now most of these pieces were stitched in place like this one temporarily so that I could make sure the layout was right, and then I took all the wood up and sanded it and refinished it. Another important part of this installation is the wire chase. Runs right down the middle of the boat. These are the wires to the steaming light, anchor light on the back. And then these 2 wires here are for the helm light, the red and white light. Very nice light. So anyway, this needs to be accessible on this side, and then they can fish line down that side for the radar unit. So the radar unit wire will come up through this chase here and go across and down to the back to get the radar back behind the GPS unit, which is right there. Okay, now I'm installing the removable piece up front that it will allow access to the wires. So this is the wire chase, and this is the removable cover. And I've got to get it lined up really nicely on the one side. Try to get my joints as good as they're going to get. And now I'm going to put a screw, and this screw only goes into the wood, it doesn't go into the roof. Okay, so I think I'll use a 1-incher oval head. Let me just use my prop to hold this up while we get ready to install that. So another part of this job is having props to hold your pieces in place. You put them on a diagonal. Get that nice in there perfectly. Okay. Maybe an 1.25 would be better. So I'll use 1.25 inches. The ceiling's not flat, so I have to cover up this gap. And it requires a prop stick. Requires a stronger person too. Okay, there we go. So this face, I've used my prop stick to hold it up to bend it to the ceiling. Now I'm using brads to hold that in place. And I'm pre-drilling, and I do not want to apply too much force or I could disturb that faceplate, which is screwed into the top. So, deal. You can see, if this wood wasn't already finished, it would be a nightmare to finish it. This piece is a sky dim 3/8 inch piece, so I had to rip essentially a 1x4 in half. I had to create a closure piece because I'm wrapped around the reinforced top part of the windshield here. So this face piece, none of the other ribs have a separate face piece. The job is finished with the exception of a couple little touch-ups required. Came out pretty damn good, if I say so myself.
So here's our list that we're working with. Doing a pretty good job of checking things off and pretty happy with the progress so far.